Here we are, friends. The final Petscop reaction. It's been a long journey. I've had some ups and downs. I hope you've had some ups and downs as well. Maybe not the downs, actually. But yeah, this is it. This is the last one. 3 minutes and 21 seconds. So it's a short one, but that'll give us plenty of time to theory craft after. And believe me, we have a lot to talk about. Holy moly. Anything new in the description before we get started? Now. What? Alright, let's go in, I guess, with that context. Okay, it's nothing. Oh, okay, so that's the description. It's just the new maker plane without the new maker, and the sky is blue, so this is definitely a continuation of last time. So what are we about to do? We're in the pause menu. Oh! I thought we already had the answer to this, but I guess we didn't. Because I thought, well, that was before, like, in, like, Marvin's recordings, so that was, like, way in the past. So I guess Rainer probably took that function out of it. Or that function, the Book of Baby Names being, like, the replacement for the code, that was only for Marvin's version of the game? But I don't know. Okay, what are we about to see? Petscop. Kids. A. Adam, Storyteller, Amber, Angel, April, Harper. Wait, so is this just about to be the credits? Is that what this is? B, Bell, Smart, Benjamin, Catcher? Who was Benjamin? Did we even get a Benjamin anywhere in here? Was that might have been in like the recordings. C, Carrie, Dizzy, Charlie, Musician. Yeah, I'm not recognizing a whole lot of these names. Daisy, Manny, David, Rich, Doug, Cook, E, Ellie, Pale, Emily, Technician. Are these like their jobs or whatever? Well, no, it wouldn't be their jobs because Daisy is many. Oh wait, that actually does make sense. You can have more than one job. F, Fatima, Sitter. Oh, you know what? Because I remember Fatima and I'm starting to recognize some of these names. So these might be like the answers to what all those people are to this family that we saw in Petscop 19. H, Henry, Bouncy, Holland, Lawnmower? I'm assuming they mean like he mows the lawn, but I'm just imagining a dude who is like a lawnmower, got like a lawnmower head. J, Jack, Dog? Are you telling me a dog played this game? James, Delicate, Jessica, Worker, Joel, Athlete. Jack is a dog? K, Kate, Goose, Kyle, Typist? What is a typist? I feel like it would have to be something to do with typing. Duh. But like, this is like the 19-somethings, so it'd probably be like typewriter. L, Larry, Toolmaker, Laura, Climber? That just reminded me of something from my old daycare years. They used to call it the Climber. And it was basically like this thing that you would put together. It was like a put-together play structure, essentially. But I only got to do it every once in a while because I'm guessing they thought that I wasn't fit for it, and I don't know, I might not have been. I might have been a bully on that thing. I don't know. I can't remember that far. Lucas, Counselor. Oh, that does give me a major answer, actually. Because I was going to talk about this in the Theory Craft session. I thought that Tiara might have been the counselor, or like Belle or something. But no, Lucas was the counselor. M, Mackenzie, Speedy, Megan, Shy, Melinda, Baker, Mike, Painter. Oh, that actually, there was a line in Tonith's description that said Painter painting puzzle. That might have been referring to Mike. N, Nathan, Guest, Nick, Golfer. P, Peter, Generous, Phil, Nosy. R, Ramona, Nuisance. Wait. Yo, imagine you get credited as a nuisance. That would be so triggering, probably. Rebecca, Puppeteer, Robbie, Reward? Yo, some of these labels are weird, man. Ryan, Drummer. S, Sally, Listen. That says Lister. Sarah is the listener, alright? We got Sean, Lucky, Shelby, Neighbor. T, Theo, Organized. Tony, Dummy? What does that mean? Trevor, Hungry. W, Wells. Carnivore? I mean, Will is a pilot. Thanks for testing? This was just the playtest? Unless this is like the credits for the playtesters. Okay, but we're only like halfway. And now a message from Mrs. Mark, who is working very hard as we speak. Mrs. Mark, that would be Anna. So that's interesting. We're about to get a message from Anna? Hi, Michael. Consider this your birthday card. Sorry I can't put money in it. When I heard how many kids were coming to your party, I was impressed. Thank your big brother for letting you and your friends play games all day and making you so popular. Is that supposed to be in reference to... Because I remember Paul was talking about Rainer was at a birthday party and all the kids were, like, in the basement. But I don't know, I'd have to go back and listen to that moment again. Also, thank your other auntie for making this all possible. If you see her, I mean, not everyone can. That, I initially thought that was referring to Jill, but that makes more sense to be referring to Lena, which also doesn't make sense, because how can they see her at all? She's dead? Unless she was just assumed to be dead, right? But anyway, happy 7th. I'm so sorry I couldn't be here. I hope my gift makes up for it. It's the one in the black box. Carrie helped pick it out. Thank her. Opening gifts is so fun. A lot of little mysteries, and all are solved. So cathartic. Anyway, I sure hope you have fun. See you later. Love you. Auntie Anna. Yeah. Wait! P.S. Whatever you do, please don't shake the box. Is there something alive in there, or is it breakable? Anyway, this symbol is... it looks like the one way back on the note in Petscop 11. So that might be like Anna's sort of signature, or like a symbol to let you know that it's written by Anna. Okay. Is that it? I'm gonna say that's probably it, but we're gonna let this flower go up. There it goes. Wow! Okay, so now it's gone. Why is it still... Oh, that's the end. Dang. Well, that was nothing too epic, but it kind of brings together everything in a way, especially in regards to that list of people from Petscop 19. It also does explain a little bit more how Mike is supposed to be involved in this, because Mike was a character that didn't really get much emphasis in this series, honestly, so it's good to see some answers coming out of that. And then, yeah, that all the information seems to line up with everything we know, so that's good. I think this is a really nice wrap-up. We're gonna go to the theory craft session now, because I got a lot to talk about. So the first thing I want to talk about is the calendars, because there's something I noticed about the calendars that I really want to talk about. So there are 3 calendars, right? The first one we see, that's the 1997 calendar. There's a lot of green on it, for we established this is when Marvin has care. What I also noticed about that calendar is, it's green. Like, that is the green calendar. So that leads me to believe that that's Marvin's calendar, because, you know, of all the Marvin green spots on it, and the fact that, you know, green is connected to Marvin pretty much every time we see it. So then I got to thinking, what if the other 2 calendars are related to our other protagonists somehow? So, the Tiara calendar, that's the gray one. That's the year 2000. And I calculated, we know this, I calculated how long Tiara's been playing the game, which was about 17 years, I think, which would mean that Tiara would have to have started playing in the year 2000. And what do we have for Tiara's calendar? The 2001. And then for Paul, that's the 2017 calendar, which is the red one. And we know Paul's character is like the red triangle guy. So yeah, it seems like all these calendars are just connected to everyone. And they're used in specific contexts too, like the Christmas one. That's the 2 times that Petscop was gifted to the family. In the Care Gets Kidnapped version of the house, there's only 1 calendar, because that's the only one that's relevant to the situation. And then we have, I think it's the green and the red one in the version of the house, like the birthday party version, because the actual situation that, like, we're playing in, the strange situation, that takes place at that birthday party, and then also Paul's calendar because of the conversation referring back to Paul's birthday. Anyway, to the stuff that actually kind of matters. Petscop 22, I said I wanted to talk about the second half of this, and there's a bit to talk about. Not as much as Petscop 23, though. Obviously, I think the room impulse stuff that we see in Petscop 22 is a direct continuation of Petscop 17, because at the end of Petscop 17 we go up that road that we, up until that point, could not get run over on, and we know by seeing the demo footage in Petscop 11, we know that that road leads to the school, so I'm thinking it was just, you know, the same thing but kind of differently. Like, we still, when we walk all the way down that road, we still end up at the school. Obviously it's going to take a while, and we're not going to be able to see anything, which is probably why they cut it off. I think that the footage
of the room impulse stuff is a continuation of that. And that makes even more sense when you consider what we're actually doing to get there. In Petscop 17, it's established we're retracing our steps. We're going backwards in time, if you will, and we're trying to figure out what happens between the 10th and the 12th of November, right after Care escapes and right before Care returns home. And I think the counseling session that we see, that's what happens in between those dates. And you want to know what's even more fascinating? If we're still going back in time, where's the next place we end up? Back in the school's basement, where Care escaped from. So Care starts off in the basement, escapes from the basement, goes to the counseling session, and then goes back home. It all makes sense. The next thing I want to talk about is how the grave robber game actually works. So you can move, you have the plus-based movement system, you can also dig, you have the plus-based dig system, but it's a lot more like what's surrounding you type of thing, excuse me. And also they describe Grave Robber as being a lot like Battleship. So Battleship is where you can see your placements of the ships, but you can't see the enemy's placement. I'm thinking this is kind of the same thing. You can see your arrangement of the board, but you can't see the opponent's arrangement of the board. And honestly, I think that has a lot to do with Petscop, considering that Paul can't see things that other players can. We know this very explicitly because in Petscop 8, Marvin goes into an area, but it looks to Paul like he's just running into the wall. And we know that that area exists because we see it in Petscop 20. Petscop is... Wow! Petscop itself is like Battleship, where you can see things others can't, and others can see things you can't. Now for the big one, Petscop 23. Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about here. Firstly, the desk that, the glitchy party hats, whatever the freak they were, the desk in front of those doesn't have the computer turned on, and it's the only computer that isn't turned on. So I feel like that might have some lore importance. I don't know if y'all want to look into that. Speaking of the computers, actually, that's my next thing. I thought that they were propeller computers, which is really stupid. The thing on the computers is the Carolina logo rotating in circles, which obviously, we've seen that rotation has an effect on the Carolina logo, so I feel like that's just kind of to reaffirm that. This next thing is very interesting. I would have had zero clue this existed if Word Art Gwian, or wait, no, that's not how you pronounce it, is it? I thought oh shoot, bro. I looked this up too. I looked up the pronunciation. Alright, well anyway, they pointed out to me that in the classroom where there's like a bunch of those red rooms and we find Paul's, right before Paul leaves his room, there's like a message there. I couldn't read the message because the dang demo UI was in the way, but I looked it up. It says push hidden... How many times am I gonna stutter today? The message says push bed against hidden door, and then there's an arrow leading from the bed to the wall, which I'm assuming is where the hidden door is. And we know that, that's Tiara's writing, because we know she can manipulate the textures and write stuff there. So I'm assuming Tiara was just trying to get Paul to, block the door off to stop Marvin from getting in, because, Marvin was about to try and come in there. The only problem with that, though, is Paul left conveniently as Tiara was putting the message there, so that's a little unfortunate. Next up, I want to talk about the items we push down to unlock the room with Care B. I couldn't figure out what the first one was, but after looking at it for a bit, it's the school. We also push the crayons, which we know has some connection to Care. I don't know what connection it has. Never talked about or acknowledged at all. Just crayons, a whole lot throughout the series, just everywhere. And then we also throw Care's picture down, which makes sense. And those are the 3 items we throw down to unlock that room. And I think it has something to do with, your baby will see everything in this room when you come back through. So what's left? A pylon and Play-Doh, stuff that has nothing to do with Care. Alright, I'm gonna be right back. I suddenly have to go bathroom, so I'm gonna just be right back, guys. Alright? Alright. Now we can get back to it. So one thing I was wrong about is so Marvin didn't put any pieces in the machine. It was only Paul and Tiara, and this is backed up by the fact that we never actually see Marvin able to get pieces throughout the entirety of the series. So, because Tiara was also the one who said he needs 1,000 pieces for the machine, so it makes sense that they're the ones collecting them, is all I'm saying. Next up, this is the big one. Amber's description, way back in Petscop Petscop 1 said something along the lines of, where's the safest place you can put her in? You should start thinking about that. And the eggs description references that again with like the question mark, and then you should start thinking about that. So that connection makes sense when you consider what we do right after reading the eggs description. We go put it in the locker with the Tiara egg. And this, I think, is meant to symbolize Tiara and Paul, you know, being safe now, or whatever the freak. Because we know that purple egg in the locker is Tiara, because the note right next to it is like a Tiara note of like her new life letter, which is like, I guess the letter after she was reborn into Tiara. I think that's kind of what the eggs represent, is like the rebirthing. Because that's what we see in like the weird red room. We put Care in there and then she comes out as an egg, so you know that kind of represents like the rebirthing process. And clearly, you know, the result we got wasn't what Marvin wanted, because he was very upset about it. Then he ran away like a coward. Ha! Anyway, so that's Amber's description as it applies to the egg. Anyway, Petscop 24, we don't have as much to talk about, but there is still some things. Petscop Kids refers back to episode 5, I think, where we ask who is Tiara, and it says Petscop Kid very smart. We see Tiara in the list, or we see Belle in the list of Petscop Kids, and we also see that her label is smart. Speaking of Petscop Kids, though, that list is the same list that we saw in Petscop 19 when we were going through the recordings, and like when it was like a bunch of those names I didn't recognize. And I think that's the list of the kids that were invited to Mike's birthday party, as, you know, Anna mentions in her note. So that's pretty cool that we finally have an answer on that. Next up, the subtitles. The only one that has interesting subtitles is Petscop 23. So apparently the glitchy party hats that we encounter up in the top floor of the school, those are called Boss. I know this because in the subtitles it repeatedly says Boss Sounds. So I don't know what the freak, I don't know what the party hats have to do with this Boss character, but we know about the Boss character because Marvin mentioned it in Petscop 20. And this is very important. The melody that Paul plays when Marvin's like, no, stop doing that, bro, what are you doing? That is apparently Paul's melody, which has gotta be the most explicit connection I have ever had. Like, Paul is Care, I already knew that back when we reacted to Petscop 23. That was confirmed, but this is like the cherry on top. This confirms it, because earlier we had Care's melody, now we have Paul's melody. If that's not a connection, I found that really fascinating and interesting. And that also confirms that we turn Care B into Paul. That's another piece of evidence that confirms that. That's pretty much it for the theory craft session, but there is one more thing I want to show you, so we're gonna cut to that now.
And now.
Okay, so we got Care's voice actually saying words I understand now, so that's an improvement. And then we also have like a little weird jingle, apparently. And we're in the blue world, so obviously, you know, this is a continuation, yet again. Hey, it's Tiara! Oh, and there's something in the back there. It looks like a bench. There is Boss. What? I see something in the back there. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Is that Boss? Waiting for her son. That could be... I don't even know who that could be, honestly. Could be Anna, because Anna is technically like... If Paul is Care, Anna's probably Paul's mother, right? But it could be Jill. You could make a case for that. Could also be Lena. You could make a case for that, too. I'm not exactly sure here. How do you remember being born? Now that is quite the question to ask, because that literally confirms my theory that Paul is Care based on the evidence I've gathered. Especially with like the egg theory of like that being Care transforming into Paul. That literally confirms that whole thing. Because like Tiara has already like been reborn, so she kind of knows what that's like. That egg represents that she's already been reborn. And then we have the Paul egg also. It makes a lot of sense. Smuggled away. What? driving to your new house. Okay, so apparently Paul was smuggled away, I guess? Boss. In driver seat. Me in back. Interesting. So Tiara was there for like the smuggling. I could not wait to be your friend. Oh, interesting. So this was like planned out from the beginning or something? I don't know what the freak that means. But we do know that Tiara was like Paul's friend since the beginning. We know that. So that part of it makes sense. It's the I could not wait to be your friend thing. That's what I don't get. Because that makes it seem like, again, this was all planned out from the beginning. But I don't know. Oh, Paul finally moving. Oh, he's about to say something. Family. We do know that while Tiara's not technically part of the family, her like letter of rebirth or whatever brought her into the family. She's now a Leskowitz, Tiara Leskowitz. And we know that Paul also became a Leskowitz by way of this rebirthing. See, that's kind of the loophole that allows Paul to still be Care. Because initially I thought that because he had a different last name, he couldn't be Care. But they've literally explained that now, so that's not even a piece of evidence I can use anymore. So what's about to happen? We can. Oh dang, long word! Investigate this together. Oh, that goes back to my Investigation Bros stuff, which looking back on it, it's not the Investigation Bros. Because Tiara's a girl. But yeah, Paul in the beginning of the series said, we should investigate this together, like when you come home and stuff. That brings us all the way back to that. So I guess we're about to investigate what's over there? Yeah, seems like it. Yeah, we're about to go over here. Is that... Okay, that's a party hat, but it looks like it's in the shape of a person. This also is the bench that was in front of that window that we saw. Like, we saw this angle of it back in Petscop 20. Because we've been inside the building before. We've done all of that, but we haven't been out here yet. So I guess that was kind of foreshadowing this moment. And I still don't know who this is supposed to represent, who this boss character is supposed to be. Alright, what are we about to do? We went behind him. Is that it? Oh, yes, that is actually it. Alright, I don't understand what the freak happened, but I do have a couple of other things to talk about. Let's look at the description first, actually. Recovered from a Tarnicot machine. Tarnicot machines are, like the machine that Petscop was developed on, like those computers and whatnot. To all involved, thank you. Track titles are the original source file names, aside from SFX1 and SFX2, which contain compiled sound effects. And we also have this bathroom tomb one, which I think it has something to do with the dirt pillar underneath, like where the bathroom would be in the house, in the Even Care version of the house. It seems like kind of more somber, like depressing tunes, so I'm thinking it's kind of like a final send-off that Raynor had for like Mike, for his brother. And it could also hint that Mike is buried under the bathroom, but that's a pretty wild theory to me. We also, I'm gonna show a screenshot of it here. There's like that room that we saw in one of the loading screens with the door, kind of like the Even Care room. Don't know what that's supposed to mean, but it's in this video. And then it says, and now the present, which I'm assuming is referring to what we just reacted to with like the blue stuff and like talking to Tiara. That was Petscop. Final thoughts? I think this has gotta be one of the most well-written. The attention to detail in this entire series is astounding. I have never seen something that pays this much attention to itself. Whoever made this, like, I give props to them, because they were on to something here. But yeah, anyway, that's Petscop for you. So, hopefully you guys all enjoyed, and while this doesn't apply to Petscop reactions anymore, I will see you next time. Bye!